Well, we got Al
Yep.
and Mo. There
Yep.
we go. And Zach. So let me go back and forth. I'll try not to screw this up too much, but I'm excited for this today. We're gonna talk for a while about sales, building, a little bit of everything. But I think this is by far the most that a sibling duo has ever done in production.
Yep.
You guys did all right. So Mo, you did how much last year?
About 550 grand.
550. Al, how much did you do?
About 600.
Got it. So we're at like 1.2 million, 1.1 million between the two of you guys. And that was your second year in the business?
Yeah, second year, first full year.
First full year. Same
yeah,
with you?
yeah. It's first full year, about 6 months before that. Yeah,
Got
that's when
it.
Started.
So as a sibling duo, you guys absolutely crushed it. I guess first, Al, you got in the business first, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 2 months before him.
So what was the story about how you first got into the business?
Well, I was like corporate America. Went to college. Did the
Where'd
whole
you go? Did you go
9
to
to
University of
5.
Kentucky too?
Oh no, I'm from Philly, Temple.
Oh, that's right. You guys are in Philly. You went to Temple. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Temple University.
That's right.
So so I went to college, did the whole degree, got the whole 9 to 5 thing, and I'm thinking like, yeah, this is like what you're supposed to do with life,
Yeah.
And then eventually you kind of realize that it's they don't pay you enough to do what you want to do with your life.
What did you go to school for?
Finance.
Okay,
So like I worked in like finance, like more corporate finance,
got it.
and like it just didn't give me what I wanted in my life. And it was like, okay, I wanted a standard here, and right now I'm here. So I need to rather than like lower my standard, I need to find something that's gonna bring me up here.
What did you not like about it? Was it just that that you worked harder than some people and got paid the same amount, or?
It's a bunch of things. Like you work hard. Like you might work double as hard as the next person. And like, okay, like they'll do the annual raises. Like you did such a great job, you're gonna get 6% raise.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, then like the guy who half-asses his job got a 3% raise, and it's like, all right, so I just like did all this hard work to make an extra like $1,500 this, or like
Yeah.
2-3 grand this year. Like it's not fulfilling. It's like you want an opportunity that's gonna actually pay you your value.
Right.
Like if I'm worth this, I want to get paid this. And I felt like that's not it. And then I was like, all right, so I'm freaking working really hard and I'm one of the best. And I get like, how long would it be until I'm at a point where I'm happy with what I'm making, or I could put my wife, or at the time didn't have any children, but like I knew I wanted kids. I was like,
Yeah.
I need to be in a spot where I can make sure I provide for them and make sure they're well taken care of, not just getting by. And I was like, I don't feel like this is going to get me where I want to be.
Yeah, put that a little closer. And fast forward like a year and a half later, you have your daughter now. Your wife doesn't work anymore. Like, was that one of your main goals as you started this whole thing, and what does that feel like now to progress through that?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's honestly kind of crazy. Like sometimes
Yeah.
me and my wife look at each other and just think about how things change so fast.
Yeah.
So like when I first started, I lived in a like 950 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment, me and my wife, like very tight space. And I always told her like, I want to find a way to like get us a nice home. Like I really don't want to bring kids into a world where we're all jumping on top of each other, no space for anything.
Where you can hear your neighbors sneeze through the wall, right?
Yeah, like literally I
Yeah.
had a neighbor upstairs.
Yeah.
That's all you hear all day because he had a loud ass dog. And
Dude,
was
I
like,
remember living in an apartment. I remember the whole time telling my wife, like, I don't care. I'm going to work so hard to where I never have to have neighbors this close to me ever again. This is driving me freaking crazy.
yeah, it was insane. Like
Yeah.
all day you hear pitter patters from
Yep.
the dog. It was like the worst. And I was just like, yo, like this isn't what I envisioned for myself.
Yeah.
Like my wife would wake up at 5:30, 6 a.m. to go to work, leave that, she worked in a fertility clinic. So she'd be there at 7 a.m. It'd be dark out when she was driving to work. And it hurt me to see her do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so first thing is I need to make sure I could move out this apartment. Like I need to make enough money to move out. Second thing is she needs to quit her job. And then because we do want to have children, and she always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so she'll quit her job, we'll have kids, and happily ever after. That was my thought process. So, went through it. Probably the funny thing is like
How'd you find it in the first place?
Ronnie.
Yeah, did he reach out to you, or did you
Yeah,
see
so,
him,
like-
or what happened?
Well, he's my brother-in-law, so I see him all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I actually worked in insurance before, like very briefly.
Got it.
Didn't really work out. And then Ronnie was like, yo, like I know him. I know he's smart. I know he knows insurance already. Like
What did you do before? Like, was it a similar system, just a different?
no, different system, just under one of the specific companies.
Got it. Okay.
But it wasn't like my style. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then so he got one of the first dudes he called out was me. And he was like, yo, like, he called out me and my brother. He was like, I know you're good at sales. I know you're good at this. Like, you two should kill it here. And I was like, I don't know. Didn't really have the best experience. Like, I don't know if I want to do it again. I kind of know how that kind of, in my head, I'm like, I know how that thing kind of goes and maybe not. And then he like would just like send me like videos and him selling. And I was like, yeah, F that. Let's try it again. Maybe it just wasn't.
He send you
good.
deposits too?
No, just send me like literally just videos. Woo!
That's great.
Like him selling a policy. Like, I made $1,000. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do what he's doing. F it. So then, it started that. And the funny thing is, like, I really was terrible on the phone when I first got here. And like, I probably sold like 5 policies my first month, working 6 days a week. Pro was like $3,000 in total IP. And it was like really not good. But I would just show up every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll figure it out. Like one way or another. I was like, because like, if it doesn't work out and I'm living in what I thought would be mediocrity, I was like, I can't look at like my wife or future children and think like, yeah, we live in mediocrity because I gave up.
Yeah, at least I tried.
Yeah, I was like, so I'm gonna give it my all. Like whatever happens, if I give it my all and it doesn't work out for one way or another, at least I could look myself in the mirror and say, okay, you gave it your all. Like you tried your best. If that didn't work out, it's okay. Because you tried your best. But if you gave up and now you're living a mediocre life, it's like, yeah, like that's something to be ashamed of, in my opinion.
I remember when, it's funny because I get to see now like the progression of the people Ronnie brought on. And I remember talking to him a lot when he was new and like starting to recruit people. Like, what do I do to recruit them? And I remember hearing him say he's doing some of this stuff. He's like, is that crazy? I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, but you should definitely keep doing it. Like send him videos and he just would always just like text people like bank statements and just whatever he could to get
Come over for
people
the family
attention.
dinner, and that's
Family
what he would
dinner,
do. Be like, listen, man, look how much money I'm making. I'm like, get out of here, man.
And I remember him talking about Al, be like, man, I just need this to work for him. Like he's trying. I'm like, just give it time, dude. It takes everyone a little bit of time. And I remember we were in here this morning talking with Easton. I remember telling him, I'm like, dude, Easton worked really hard for his first month. And with this, we were in the field, but I'm like, he would run like 50 appointments a week, which was way more than anyone.
Yeah.
And he would sit with like 30 people and he would sell like 2. And I'm like, that's like the worst I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah.
And he was saying, he's like, but he's working. I'm like, just give him time. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then now you wrote 650 grand, right? Which
600.
or 600 grand, which is a, like he didn't give up. You didn't give up. You were like, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
What gave you the belief that it was going to work out, do you think?
Honestly, it was like the main thing was just sitting in Zoom, and I would see like Mahmoud close and Ronnie close, and like guys like On and Nate. Like I would just see them on Zoom, and I'm just like literally like sometimes I would just stop and just stare. Like, and I'm like, all right, like what they're doing isn't hard. Like it's difficult to keep working and grinding it out. I was like, but like they have nothing that's like so special. Like if you want to go to the NBA, you got to jump a certain amount. You got to be fast. You got to be tall. You got to be coordinated. You need a lot of things to go your way just to even have an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, you don't really need anything special to do this. You just need to work hard and focus on your craft. And I was like, if all of them could do it, like, why wouldn't I be able to do it?
Yeah.
Like, if this Mahmoud could sell 3 in a day, like, why can't I sell 2?
Right.
Why can't I sell 1? Because at the time it was hard to sell 1. I was like, if he could sell 3, I could do 1.
You do 1, yeah.
And I was like, if I could do 1, I could do 2. And if I could do 2, I could do 3.
Yeah.
I just kept rolling it from there. And I was like, I'll just keep doing it because I could see other people do it. Definitely means I could do it.
Yeah. So Al gets started 2 months before you?
Yeah.
So what was how did Ronnie get you on, or what was your process? Like you were kind of watching this, you're like, okay, maybe if he does good, I'll do it. What did that look like?
Yeah, so it was one of those things where like when Ronnie approached it, he mostly approached him first because like he had a job with like a really light workload. So it was like he could like transition to it, kind of see what he wants to do because he could kind of balance the both at first. He was like, with me, he was like worried because like if this guy's gonna do it, he's gonna have to quit his job.
Yeah.
So like he was like, he would mention it, we're doing this, you should think about it. But
So use Al as a test dummy first and make sure it works out.
Yeah, because himself, he would say, because he was busy with the pizza shop, he was like, I'm not too sure about this. Like he didn't have so much faith in it.
Yeah.
But it's like, but Al, if he just makes a couple extra bucks, like there's no harm. With me, he was like, oh man, this guy's got to quit his job. So he was worried. So the one day that he was like at my house, we're hanging out, and he's like telling me about the job and all that type of stuff. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll quit. Like, I was like, fine.
You're like, all right.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know Al's been doing it. He's like, he made a couple sales. I was like, and the same thing. I was like, when me and him had totally different like paths. Is the funny thing, right? So like he went to college,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, I don't want to go to school.
So never went to college.
No, never.
How far apart are you guys in age?
3 years.
Okay.
About, yeah.
Got it.
So like I never wanted to go to college because I didn't see like there was anything there that I was working towards, and that was my main thing.
Did your parents try to push you to go to college?
Oh, for sure.
Got it.
For sure.
What do your guys' parents do?
Well, my dad always owned his own business. My
Okay.
mom was like a stay-at-home mom
Got
always.
it.
But like, you know, if you go down the list of my family, it's like all of them graduated. You got like my sister's a lawyer, engineers, like teachers, things like that. So it was like, I'm the only one that did it. I was like, oh, what's wrong with this guy?
So you
Like,
have a big family. How many siblings do you guys have?
we have 6 siblings.
Wow.
Like, so 7 total. As I have 6 siblings. Yeah.
Got it.
So it was a funny thing of like, we both still ended up kind of on the same path, but just totally different ways. So I left, you know, high school, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I got to get a job. Ask my friends. I'm like, oh, I need a job at, you know, T-Mobile. So working there, it kind of taught me, honestly, a lot of things that I probably learned that like is hard to learn here at first.
Yeah.
Because everything here is like, you're all just kind of learn it together, I would say. What there is like, I learned a lot of things because you know, at a young age, I knew, okay, like, obviously I didn't know what to do, but I knew I was going to do something. And I wanted to open my own business, but I was like, but if I want to open my own business, I need money. Like,
Yeah.
because before this, like, before I found out this job, like, you needed hundreds of thousands to, you know, run a good business.
Open a restaurant or a store or whatever you want to do, you need money for.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna work as hard as I can, save as much money as I can, you know, get the promotions, get the raises. So by the time I hit 25 years old, you know, I could start my life and actually have some type of foundation where I could build from.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm grinding in there. I'm saving up a good amount of money, and then when I heard about this, I'm like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's an easy in. Like, I'm not investing my money. I was like, I think I was like 5th ranked like manager in the nation that year before too.
Yeah.
I'm like, they'll take me back in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So what am I risking? Like maybe a few months of maybe not making as much income. Like, what's really the risk here? Really was nothing. That's the same thing I kind of tell everybody else. So I'm like, really, what's your risk? You make an average wage. You can't find an average wage somewhere else.
Right.
You know, give yourself a chance to make, you know, money that Ronnie's telling me, Mahmoud's telling me, like they make X amount of money. Like, give yourself the damn shot. So that's what I would say. So when we came to start working together, me and Al, it's like, wow, like, you know, the paths kind of came across again where it's like, at the end of the day, we were just had the same goal. You know, his goal is to make as much money as possible. That was mine. You know, we both took a different route to end up at the same place. So when I quit, Ryan's like, oh, damn. Like, he's kind of worried now again. You know, it's like, this guy just quit his job. Like, I don't know, like, how this is going to go. And I was like, hey, Ronnie, like, I've been in sales before. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not your fault if this doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I looked at the structure myself. I joined the meetings about it. If you look at a commission structure, you look at what other people are able to do and how much a sale is going to pay out. It's like, okay, you could do the own math in your own head and think, okay, yeah, I could do this. Like, as long as I don't completely suck, I can make at least X amount of money is the way I looked at it. And that's how it kind of went. Like, my first month, okay, made probably exactly what I thought I'd make, and then just built on it from there.
Yeah. Now, when you didn't go to college and you decided to kind of go your own path, you probably had a lot of pushback from family, from your siblings, from everyone in your circle, right?
Yeah, totally.
That happened to me too. When I was going to go to medical school and I decided not to go back.
Really.
And I was really worried about it. And then I realized like everyone pretty much stopped caring pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
I think like initially there's a little bit of pushback, and then after everyone realized they couldn't change my mind because I'm incredibly stubborn. Like,
Yep.
And I think you're probably the same way.
Yep.
Was that the same with you? Like after you kind of made it through a couple months, everyone was just like, all right, whatever. Like he's gonna do whatever he's gonna do.
Yeah. So the thing is, I get to the point, I think, as well, is where they realize even if I push them to go back, that's probably not going to work out for
It
them.
might make it worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it was. It was like at first the worst day of your family's life, right? Like that's what it feels like. Then it's like, okay, now get over it. At the end of the day, I always looked at it as like, I don't blame them. At the end of the day, the only thing you want is just, you know, your kids to be successful.
Yeah.
You don't want them to depend on, you know, anybody else for money. Like you just want them to be okay financially.
Right.
So it's like, I don't blame them. They thought that was the best route to do it. And I'm sure that's probably what your family thought
sure.
too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't blame them. But now, you know, my dad just sees, okay, like he did all right for himself. Like all that kind of goes out the window. You think he cares about that I didn't go to college? Like, no, the whole goal was to make money.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have a passion.
What do your guys' parents think about? And it's a family business for you guys, right? Because obviously Ronnie and you guys, Ronnie married your sister. We got this correct
Yep.
now, and your brothers, so that obviously makes sense.
Yeah.
I was brain dead this morning, and I said, "Which one of your sisters did Ronnie marry?" And I was like, "Wait, they're brothers." I'm an idiot. So, but now my brain is working really well. Now we're moving at 110 miles per hour. So, what do your parents think? What do your wives think? What does your sister think? Like, how has this business kind of evolved as your family has seen you guys go through it for a year and a half?
I mean, I think they all saw like the growth we had together.
Yeah.
And then it just became a thing of like, all right, like my father will see us and he'll be like so proud of us now.
Yeah.
He was always proud of us, but now it's like different because he sees like actual real success out of his children.
Yeah.
Or like when Ronnie opened his office, like he came with a box full of sweets for everybody. Like it's like in our culture, like it's
Yeah.
like a big celebratory thing when you bring sweets. So like he was so happy to bring sweets for everybody because he's like proud of his, his two sons and his son-in-law.
Yeah.
And then like we're here for convention this week. We're here for like Hall of Fame award ceremonies. So like my wife came, one wife is, his wife came, Ronnie's wife came. Then my mom was like, I want to go too. Like I want to see my two sons there too.
Yeah.
And my son-in-law. So like now my mom is even there. Like, okay, now like all three of her sons are being awarded, and all three of her sons are being acknowledged. Like it's a big deal for her too, because like we don't all have success in different spots. It's all one, we're all succeeding together, and I think that's the best part.
Yeah,
of it.
it definitely brought the family a lot closer, I would say.
Yeah. That's
you know,
awesome.
throughout it all. Because, like, especially even if we just sit there, we'll talk about work for hours.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hang out with your family, you don't know what to talk about. Like us, we'll
And
go on
it's hard to keep
hours.
family together. It is like it's really hard, and it's beautiful that the business can bring your family together.
Yeah.
Because families break up over over silly stuff all the time and get in fights and don't get along. And
Yeah.
like for you guys to have something to bring you in common and make you be together all the time is beautiful, right?
And that's what I think is one of the best things is, they always hear, like, you don't mix business and family,
Yeah.
or friends or whatever the saying is. And with us, it's like, no, this is the best way to do it. Because, like, who are you going to trust more than your brother?
Yeah.
More than your brother-in-law, more than like your closest friends.
Yeah.
Like, we trust each other. Like, no matter what happens, like, we're all sticking by each other.
Yeah. Well, I also think like, so my family's from Poland originally. My parents were the first generation born here, and then I was here, right? Your guys' parents from Palestine, or
Yeah.
Yep.
so I think it seems to me like it's a cultural thing in a lot of ways, right? Where it's like families that come from out of country, like they're a lot tighter.
Yeah.
And so I think like sometimes people say don't mix family and business. It's like a different cultural thing. But like you guys, like a lot of your family outside of just like you guys and Ronnie, like cousins, like everyone is in the business together. And
Yeah.
like, do you think it makes a difference culturally that you guys are all like you kind of run the same circles and know the same people, and there's a certain level of respect I've noticed with getting to know you guys within your guys' community.
Yeah. And I would say the funny thing is too, is like some of the reason why like we are so proud about this business is because the main people that we had recruited were people from our community.
Yeah.
And when you look around, it's like, we brought, other people into this business and showed them how to make, an amount of money that like they couldn't even believe.
Right.
Now it's like their families all have a good appreciation for the business. And then when you kind of see that in real time, like we'll go to a wedding.
Yeah.
And we'll look around. It's like everybody here is working
You're like,
for
is this
us.
a meeting? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for us, with us, all of
Yeah.
that type of thing. And it's funny. And you look around, and it's like that's what makes you like so proud of this, because you felt like we had a real big part in like helping a lot of people in our community like reach goals and success that they probably didn't think they'd ever make.
Yeah.
Some people like might have had it rougher than a lot of us growing up too. In that community, and now you could kind of look at them and be like, wow, like you're like, growing up, maybe they didn't have the most. And now you've seen like, with the opportunity that, they're able to kind of show them that they can actually like build something for themselves. It's pretty nice to see that too.
That was really funny. We went out for Ronnie's birthday last weekend, and we're all sitting at dinner together. And it's like, it's not even just like, oh, we're all friends. And like, we literally sat at a table. It's probably 10 of us. And
It
it's
was
like,
the managers.
Yeah, like 10 managers. And it was like, okay, like Like Yusuf, it's me and my brother. Like Yusuf is like one of our best friends.
Yeah.
Then there's a guy named Musa who was Coach's like childhood best friend working with us. And then it's like there's also people there that we didn't even bring on that Ronnie brought on, like Adam and the other Muhammad is there too. And it's like, yeah, I've known all these people for so many years.
Yeah.
And now we just ended up here working together.
Yeah.
And we're all doing well together. So like at the end of the day, like even if I'm not in the office and somebody needs help, like these people are all willing to help one another. Because like, yeah, like I always help, Coach's guy or Yusuf's guy or, Adam's guy or any of them, because like I've known them all for so long. Like even if it doesn't affect me, like that's just that mentality in our office. Like even if it doesn't directly affect me, I'm still willing to help because like we just have such a care and appreciation for one another.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's from 7 years ago till now. That's how the only way we could get this business going was like, it doesn't matter whose hierarchy you're in. Like you help everybody because we have to. Otherwise, this is never gonna get off the ground. Like we had no other option. It was like if you were on someone else's team and asked me a question, I would help you because I needed to make sure if I had someone ask that guy a question, he would we had to have that. Otherwise, we were never gonna get any momentum going.
Yeah, the
and you guys have taken it to a whole nother level where it's like everyone helps everyone no matter what. And to your point, like my best friends in the world now are all people that I'm in business with. And it takes a while to get there with people in business to get that friendship. But like the people that are, dude, I was the best man in Calvin's wedding. I've known him forever. Like I would do anything for him. We've been in business together, for 5 years now. Easton, who you guys met today, 6 years. It's like, dude, I was there right after his kids were born. It's just like you build different bonds with people that you go to war with, and not real war, but like in business war with. And it's hard to replicate that. And the amount of like the friendship that comes along with that is makes this business a lot more fun. I was just at a meeting last week in Las Vegas. Mayron, his name's Mayron, is the CEO of National Life Group. And he's going to talk at convention, but he talked about like they took their company from being I think it was the 27th or 28th biggest IUL carrier to the number 1 IUL carrier. He's been there for like 20 years. And he said the reason they were able to do it is because their whole goal has always been purpose-driven, not, purpose-driven, not profit-driven, right?
Yeah.
And they're always purpose-driven, mission-driven, and their goal is always to do the best thing, for the customers, for the agents, and for the company. But they always think about the purpose instead of trying to maximize profits.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal because if you're trying to maximize profits, then you might do things to make sure agents make less money, or if you're a carrier, you might do things to make the products worse in favor of the book of business, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what you guys are talking about, or if you want to comment on that, like you care a lot more about the people making money because they're your friends and your family. And then as a byproduct, you make a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're putting the people first. And I remember when we were building the business, like we had to put everything back in because there was no infrastructure. There was no leads. We had no offices. We had no contracting staff. We were figuring all this stuff out. And I was just putting it all back in because I didn't want my friends to fail.
Exactly.
And then 3-4 years later, I was like, oh crap, I made a lot of money on act, but I wasn't even thinking about the money. I was thinking like, how do I survive today? You know?
No, I get that. And that's the thing, like, I feel like, but that culture even came in, not even from us. Like, when we joined All Stars, like, we looked down and it's like, all these people were so willing to help us.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, I was like, yo, if a stranger is willing to put this much time, attention, even call me and ask me how I'm going, and I just met this guy, I was like, you're damn sure that I'm going to have this guy that is one of my closest friends. I'm going to make sure you do well.
Right.
And I felt like that culture, when you came in, just, it trickled down to everything, especially you bring on family, friends, or just people that you know from the community. It's like you want to make sure, okay, like everybody here has, bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I always say this too, like when you recruit somebody to this job, like they're putting their trust in you, like to support their family basically, right? Because at the end of the day, they're coming with no salary. Their purpose, in doing this is to make more money. And they're going to look around and say, okay, but this guy told me I could make X amount of dollars if I could do 1, 2, and 3 things, and he could show me how to do it because he's done it. So when you kind of put that in perspective, like, okay, so he's basically following your word for this.
Yeah.
And how much effort you're going to put into him might be the outcome between him failing and succeeding. It's like, yeah, man, like you really can't let them down.
Right.
And that would let somebody fail like that.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to Ronnie, and it was like, like in insurance, the industry is probably like a 90% fail out rate. Ours is the opposite. We have like 86% of our people were here for, I don't remember the 6 months or a year. And it was like, yeah, like we're literally the exact opposite because we care so much for one another to do well.
Yeah.
And like there is nothing like you were telling me my friend needs my help and like he's relying on me and I'm not gonna help him. Like that doesn't work.
And it becomes different between it's like, are you a number on a spreadsheet or are you like a human being that needs help?
Yeah.
Right. And I remember like when we were getting started, people would like, I would give Wiley like appointments and leads and stuff like that. And people are like, why he's at like a normal comp. He's not at a low comp. And you're not making him split you in. I'm like, dude, he needs to make money. Like, what do you mean? Why not? Like, I'm doing okay. Why not?
And look what it did for you.
And then it built trust with him. And now his business is 38% of our team and he's killing it. Right.
Yeah.
And he's come a long way and developed a lot. But like, it's like, if you have a chance to do the right thing by someone, why not do it?
Yeah.
You know?
And
And
guess
why
that's
not
what you're
build
taught.
people up and teach them to be leaders?
Yeah.
And that's what you're taught though. Like you do good, the good's gonna come back.
Yeah.
And that's just like like I said, it's the responsibility that you have, and you just feel like things have a way of coming back, you know. And this is a business. Like if people in your business know how to succeed, like trust me, like you're gonna go far.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of like the main point.
So this year you guys wrote 1.1 between the two of you, which is a lot, and you're recruiting like crazy. What are a couple of the major keys that you think allowed you to sell as much insurance as you sold this year?
I felt like I just had there's such a drive to like accomplish the goals I had set out for myself. And it was like, yeah, like I had these goals and I wasn't going to stop until I hit them. And then like, it literally made such a difference in my life in a year. Like, it's funny, like when I first started, my main goal was to like buy a new home for my family. Like, that's it. I was like, I don't care. It'll probably take like 2 or 3 years. And me and my wife are going to live in a nice house in the suburbs and we're going to figure it all out. And then, like, literally, the funny thing is, I remember I made my first, like, day training with Ronnie. I always remember the day. It was, like, March 29th, 2023. Guess what day I bought my first home?
Same day?
March
Year
29th
later?
of 2024.
Yeah.
Like, literally 1
Crazy.
year later. And it was like, wow, like, that's, like,
Full circle.
feels like a blessing from God. Like, you don't think your life is going to change that quickly.
Yeah.
So, like, I had such a drive to do that. And I just look back now and how much my life has changed, and I can't believe it. And it's like, okay, so if it did that much for me, and it could do that much for the next guy and the next guy and the next guy, like, it'll be really insane. Like, if I have that opportunity for people to change their lives, I'm just not going to give it to them.
Yeah.
Because it made such a difference for me. Like, not giving it to them would just be really selfish, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the cool part is, like, when you grinded that hard to get to that goal, to write 600, to, you know, you bought your house, like, you develop really good habits. And then I bet, like, the rest of the year after that, like, you just kept doing the same thing, selling the same amount because it became normal to you, right?
No, like, now it's normal. Like, that's
yeah, you're like,
my
I sell
standard.
60 grand a month. Like, it's
Like,
it
this is
what
my
it
new standard. Like, I'm not going to just fall back on my standard. Like,
People put those expectations on you too. Is the funny thing. Like
Yeah.
they're like, damn, like where are you on the leaderboards this month? Like you fell off. Like that's the last thing I ever want to hear.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think were a couple of things that led to you selling as much as you've sold and then starting to build the team you're building now? Like, what's led to the success this year so far?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to like what I was saying, like it's about being grateful.
Yeah.
So like when my goal, like when I started this job, was like I want to make 10 grand. Like,
Yeah.
that was my goal in life. So when I got it, I was so grateful for it. And I was like, okay, like the last thing I'm gonna do is like basically like cash in my chips and walk away or like take a step back. I'm like, no, like, you know, you set the new goal, you set the new goal, you set the new goal. And what really makes you going is you just start to think about how many more opportunities in my life did this bring me, you know, financially. And it's like, yeah, like every step that I've made more money, like you feel like it just brought you so much more.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of hold yourself to the standard where it's like, you just look at the leaderboard, just like, man, like I can't not be up there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And then we just kind of push each other, me and Al, like, you know,
Yeah. Do you guys compete month over month and like?
we don't say it, but it's one of those things where it's
Unspoken.
like, yeah, but not even that. It's like if I saw him at the bottom of the list, I'm like, bro, you're a bum. Like, I'll be honest, like,
Well, yeah,
like
what are
you're
you
a
doing
bum.
right now? Like when Coach got married, like the end of last year, like he was like, you know, a little bit preoccupied getting married and buying
Yeah.
a new home, moving in, and like his numbers were low, and I'm like, oh man, like me and him, like I think we hit Hall of Fame within 1 week of each other. Like, we were always neck and neck, and I'm like, oh man, like you're not gonna catch me for the year if you keep slacking off. Or like you're getting married, you're taking a 2-week honeymoon. I was like,
I'm gonna get way out ahead of you.
I was like, you're gonna lose your step
Yeah.
because we were always like right neck
Yeah.
and neck all year.
Yeah, and then Ronnie is like he completely forgets how I was getting married and I had a whole honeymoon and everything. It's like, man, where have you been? Like your numbers are. I'm like, yo, Ronnie, like leave me alone. I'm already pissed. Like I'm on my honeymoon, pissed looking at the numbers. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Is it
give
is
me a
it hard
break.
for you guys to take vacation? Like it became really hard for me to take vacations now because I
Yeah.
go and with kids, like you have a kid, you'll see this if you go on vacation with kids, it's not relaxing at all. Like I took my we took our two kids to Costa Rica, spent a week there. I was like, that was not vacation. That was just parenting in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
It's still very stressful, but before I had kids, it was hard for me to take vacation, take time
Yeah.
off. I would take like a day or two to decompress, and then I'd be back thinking like, okay. And then I'd be up at 5 a.m. like on my phone looking at stuff and sending emails and texts to my staff. My wife's like, "Can't you relax?" I'm like, "No, I can't."
Can't.
Do you guys feel the same way with you?
Yeah, I've always been like that
Yeah.
since I was 18 years old. I just
Can't.
felt like, damn, like I'm missing
do
out. I'm
something.
missing out on money. I'm missing
Yeah.
out on money. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like I've just been learning over time. Is like, what do I make all this money for?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not gonna enjoy it, like,
Yep.
I better like shut up, make myself do it, go enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to be 50 years old and say, hey, I got all this money. I have experienced shit.
Yep. Yeah, it's you have the drive. You got to figure out how to relax every once in a while. I'm good. 3-day vacation is good for me.
Yeah, like a 3-day vacation at the house is
Yeah.
like pointless to me.
No.
But like if you're gonna do a 3-day vacation, go somewhere.
Absolutely.
Like that's how I am. Like I'm either in a different country or somewhere, or I'm at home and I'm working.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
That's how I am too.
No, like it's a thing because like, yo, I only make money if I'm working here. Like I don't get PTO here.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like if I don't work, I'm gonna lose out on making money. But it's just like, I mean, when you make a lot of money, it just comes with the territory. Like if you're not gonna work, you're not gonna get paid. But like you make a lot of money. It's just normal if you miss a few days.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a few days, and it's like, yeah, it's whatever, man. End of the day, don't make it a habit.
Yeah.
But every once in a while,
Yeah, take
reward
some time to
yourself.
enjoy time with your family. I think once you have kids too, you have to make sure you're setting a good example and being balanced enough to spend time with your kids and be there. And that's why we work as hard as we do. So when you have a family and stuff, you can choose when you spend time with them and when you're working, and you don't have to be working 100 hours a week because you've built up a business where you can decide like, yeah, I'm going to work 40, 50 hours, but I'm also going to spend time with my children when I want to,
Yeah.
And that was always my goal. My goal was never to make millions of dollars or anything. My goal was always like, hey, can I make enough money to where I don't ever have to worry about money again?
Exactly.
And like for me, that was a freeing feeling where I'm like, I can work. I love working. And people are always like, why you still work? I'm like, I love working. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what else I would do with my time. It would probably be super self-destructive if I wasn't
I
working.
mean, you're
Yeah.
like, what,
But-
31?
I'm 29.
Oh,
Yeah.
even worse. Like you're 29.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
29 years old. That's what I said.
Like, what the
Why
hell
are
am
you
I supposed
working?
to
I'm
do?
29.
People ask
I'm
that,
the
like,
prime of my
you don't have
life.
to work. You got paid. I'm like,
You're
yeah, but I love
29. What else are
working.
you supposed to do?
What else are you supposed to do, right? That's how I was raised, is that you work. Like, you
Yeah.
work, you be productive, you be a good member of society. That's how I was always raised, So I enjoy the process of working.
I think it's gonna make you get old quick too if you step away.
Dude, my grandpa, the one who was born in Poland, was 85 years old. He died when he was 85. He had a super serious stroke. But up until that, he was still golfing 2 times a week. He was still, he had a little business he ran. He was still working out. And he was the youngest 85-year-old I've ever seen, And I'm like, I want to be that version, not the guy that's laid up in a nursing home,
Yeah.
That's how my dad kind of is. Like
Yeah.
my dad's like, he doesn't really work. He's like 68 right now. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't really work, but like he's all day he's in the yard just like
Just doing
gardening,
stuff.
planting. That's just his passion. He loves it.
And he's probably sharp too,
He's
right?
like sharp, like still in
Yeah.
good shape. Like he's probably
Yeah.
still kick some ass here and there. Like good shape, man.
If he has to, right? Good thing he has good son-in-law with Ronnie. So, what are your guys' goals for this year? Production-wise, team-wise, whatever. And what do you have to do to hit those? You think?
I mean, first I want to hit like I hit 600 one year. I want to get to the next level. I feel like 750 is
It's a good number.
next level.
Yeah.
But team-wise, I want to get to probably right now, like last month we finished at 150. I want to bring it to like 752, 600, 750.
Okay.
Stretch goal would be $1 million. That's a stretch. But that's my goal. Like I'm going to work to do that. At the end of the day, like all you got to do is bring people in who want to change their lives too.
Yeah.
Like one way or another, it changed a lot of people I know work here, changed their lives. I can't even count them on my fingers anymore.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, like all you got to do is find people who want better for themselves, and the rest will take care of itself.
Cool. What about for you, Mel?
Yeah, I would say the funny thing is like my goal is to 3x it. So I was at a little bit under 250 as a team last month in December. My goal is like the 3x it and, stretch goal like of $1 million. And I know everybody always says like, oh, my goal is like 2 million, 3 million. Like I don't like to put no outrageous goal out there because I'm the type like I put my goal at 750. Now, if I don't hit 750, I probably might not sleep. Like, like that's the way I look at my goals. Like my goal is something that's like, I have to get this.
Yeah.
Not something where it's like, if I get this, I'll be jumping over the moon. It's like, no, like 750 is what I have to get.
Yeah.
If I get $1 million, I feel like, wow, like I grew more than I even expected. But my expectation is 750, I would say, instead of a goal.
Yeah, and I was always the same way too. There'd be like a very stretch goal, like you said, like hey, if everything lines up and like the world goes perfect,
Yeah.
this, and then the drop dead one.
Yeah.
So we cannot miss the drop dead one. Like ours for this year, we were doing $4 million a month at the beginning of the year. I was like, our drop dead goal is 7.5, and like we
Yeah.
barely hit it, and I wasn't sure if we were going to hit it all year.
Yeah.
But I'd been selling insurance in the field the last couple of days to make sure we hit it.
Probably, yeah.
I 100% would have been.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, like, but let's just say you said, hey, my goal is 10 million. And then when you constantly year over year don't hit your goal, I just
Yeah.
feel like your goal doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people do is they put these outrageous goals that they probably know they're not going to hit.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I'll fall on my face, but,
just
I'll
a
get as
dream.
close as possible because I'm pushing for that. It's like,
Yeah.
no, like, if I don't hit that 750, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, I think it's good to have like a stretch goal and then a drop dead.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss this one no matter what goal. And if you overshoot it and hit your stretch goal, that's great. you know?
Exactly.
So, all right, boys. Well, appreciate y'all coming in. This
Thank
has
you,
been
man.
great. I can't wait for people to watch this and learn more about you guys, and hopefully hit you up after this to work with y'all. So,
Nah,
thank you
man.
guys.
Appreciate
for
everything.
everything.
Thank you for having us, man.